Like, this audio still has to go on there.
No. Not
What
possible.
do you mean, no?
Not possible.
What have I been doing the whole time?
Nothing. The whole episode is completely out of sync.
How did it work for you? Well, I just put the audio on top of the other audio and saw what happened.
I got lucky. I don't know. My editing software came up with an update one day, and it said like auto sync audio tracks to video tracks based on the audio from them, and I was like, hell yeah! I tried to use it one time. It did not sync even remotely.
Really?
I'm wondering if it's because the audio quality on that is so much less than this that it, like, I don't know, it couldn't match. Maybe this P tire or something.
Adobe's works great.
Did it?
That's
Yeah.
how I sync everything in Premiere with that. It works awesome.
I used to just do it manually. I would just keyframe it to that specific clap and then...
Because that's what I was doing as well. And then I would just make a marker there and a marker there, and then I would line up the markers.
Yeah, that was
But
it.
now I select both tracks. I hit sync based on track one, and it sits and analyzes for like a few minutes, and then just lines them up.
It
and
got
it's
better.
pretty damn good. I've had to adjust it maybe like once, and it was off by like
A frame or two.
yeah.
Yeah, mine maybe got better because my editors really leaned into AI stuff lately.
I mean, so is Adobe.
Yeah, so they might have gotten
So
better.
they've gotten pretty good at it.
Yeah, so...
I like their implementation of some of the AI stuff because it's productivity shit. It's not like let this thing steal your job. Yeah. It's we're gonna have the AI analyze this audio and do an audio transcript for you so that you can pick and choose certain things, and then you still have to edit it, obviously, because like the transcript is never accurate. Right. But it just makes doing subtitles so much easier.
Yeah, no, that's the type of AI I like.
And shit that's like, we'll sync your audio tracks together. But they do lean into a ton of generative AI shit too, which is kind of annoying.
I made sense in Adobe though. That's their whole thing.
Before I was at a point where I was like, man, these like really hard in the paint anti-AI people are like, I feel like it's bad, but it's like it's not that bad. But more and more, I'm like, I'm becoming that person.
I see more AI
like
videos.
I still used GPT occasionally. Now I don't use it anymore because I'm like, this is fucking stupid. There's tools for this that I'm trying to get it to use. I'm trying to use this with, and there's tools for this already that aren't AI. Because the biggest thing I was leaning on it for was names for stuff, and the names it comes up with suck dick, and if you're a fantasy writer. This might be the first episode with pre-show banter in a while. If you're a fantasy writer, fantasynamegenerator.com, this woman named Emily makes these name generators, and there's like 1,000 of them, and they're pretty good.
Yeah, ChatGPT does not make good names. I asked it to make my character, like, it was an elven character, and I wanted Oscar's name in there somewhere, and it came with Arstarn Ellsworth. I'm like, what the hell is this?
To be fair, Alex did ask ChatGPT last night to name the spider. So there's a robe that I gave him. It's called the Robe of the Giant Enemy Spider, and once per day he can spawn a spider, like a giant spider in combat. And and we're like, we got to come up with a name for him. So he asked ChatGPT, and the one it came up with was the one we picked was the Honorable Mr. Jumbleweb, which I kind of like.
Okay, that goes hard.
That kind of
hard.
fucks.
Yeah, that goes hard. I like that one. I don't know. I agree with you though. I'm getting turned off to AI.
I was like, this shit's pissing me off. I don't
like.
I'll figure it out on my own. I'll be fine.
The more I see like AI generated voices or like AI generated Instagram reels and stuff, that gets me mad.
I see all these people who are like, they like outsource all their thinking now. Let me just ask ChatGPT. Don't
think for once.
Think,
Mark.
Mark. Think. Yeah. Don't ask the computer that lies all the time to give you factual information.
Now, if you want to have it do calculus for you,
have it do stupid shit like calculus.
What it does for me.
Listen, I'm no calculologist, but that shit's hard.
I'm no calculist.
I'm no calculator.
Yeah, I don't know. ChatGPT is good for a couple of things. Like my coworker used it for monitoring inventory on a website. He was like,
that's
hey,
fair.
let me know when this item goes back in stock. And it was like, bang, 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 did it. Like, that stuff made sense.
Yeah.
It's basically like making a script. Like, people used to do that with bots, but that requires scripting and knowledge and all this shit. When you can just ask for this thing.
You can ask the
it.
computer to do it, and it's usually like pretty decent at that.
So like that I get, or like I asked it the other day. I had like a little bit of a confusion around my camera, where like the box my camera came in, I was reading it, and it says my lowest aperture is 3.5, and I was like, that's weird. I would think I could go as low as the lens will go, and I thought it was a limitation of the camera. So I asked it for some clarification, and I was misinterpreting it. It's because my box was a kit lens.
The kit lens.
The kit lens is 3.5, but it says right on it, camera lowest aperture, or I guess highest aperture, 3.5. And I'm like, that's weird. But it's talking about with that kit lens, so it clarified.
Interesting.
So it was good for that. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good for. There's some applications like, not at work that I haven't used it for, but I know other people have. So and my company has its own wrapper around GPT. So you can have it do more stuff specifically with like company information.
Yeah. That's cool. We use Gemini. That's our official one.
The Gemini summaries are actually like not too terrible anymore. They're okay now.
Yeah. Gemini
It only
overall is pretty
lies
good.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I like when I see the meme where it's like, hey, does McDonald's sell burgers? It goes, no, McDonald's does not sell burgers. They're open 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. selling burgers.
There was one that I saw that was someone looked up how many USB ports does my motherboard have, and said like, well, the motherboard usually has like 6 to 9 or 6 to 10 USB ports. One Reddit user says, quote, kill yourself.
Yeah, I do. I've seen that. That's funny. Yeah.
So I think it's gotten better at filtering out sources. So it's usually not too terrible, but I usually dig into like what it's actually looking from, because
It puts a little link next to it.
Yeah, and it'll
Which is
usually, sometimes I've had it take shit out of context and then be like, no, this is not how this works. And then you read the article and it's the opposite. So, I don't know. In any case, use your natural intelligence before you use the artificial one.
Yeah.
That's my piece. That's my old man yells at cloud.
I've stopped generating images with it. I started to
I
like that.
I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, I started to not like that for some reason. Something about it just left a bad taste behind.
Rubs me wrong as someone who's looking into artists, because I want to commission art for a lot of my characters from my Pathfinder campaign, because I have an image of them in my head, but I'm dumb and stupid and can't draw. So I want to hire someone who's like smart and good at drawing. So I've been looking into that, but it's just like, it's a lot of money. So I see why people generate stuff with ChatGPT. But like, I'd rather pay an artist like $100 to get a full color portrait that they draw based on a description that I give them, much more than I would have ChatGPT like poison the water supply for a little while. Yeah. And then you get something that's not even what you asked for.
Or if it is, it's still just, there's no heart to it.
Like it's dog shit every time. I know I glaze this guy all the time, but Brandon Sanderson did a video about this where he talked about AI art. He said, like, I was an art director for this piece of art. He shows off some art that he had his artist do. It's like, this is I was art director on this. I pushed this guy really hard on this. I gave him the prompts. I gave him the revisions. I did everything. I would never call this my art. So, like, AI art, isn't it? You can't just say, I'm an AI artist. Mm-hmm. You just told the computer to do it for you.
That's fair. That's a good analogy, yeah.
In any case.
What episode is this, anyway?
211. I keep track now because I actually participate in this show now. I'm actually pulling my weight.
It's me being like, huh?
Because before I was like, yeah, I'm in school, and then so like I don't really have a lot of time other than like school and work, so I don't think I'm gonna have time to edit this. So Jordan was like, I'll do it. Okay, great. And then it just kind of kept up
for 4 years.
And then he started school, and then was talking about how it's like school's like really fucking kicking my ass. And I was like, yeah. and then I thought about it after we stopped, and I was like, I should have just offered to edit this. And so the next time around, because it was already, by the time that thought occurred to me, because I'm a bad person, by the time that thought actually occurred to me, it was like the episode was almost out. So I was like, all right, next time around? Next time around, I was like, I'll just do it. It's fun. And it's really not even that tough of a process.
It's just a time.
Back in the day, it definitely would have been a more tough process, but we're way more tight-lipped about stuff now.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to cut a minute out of every episode. That's like,
and it's usually just like dead
the
audio.
beginning and the end. And then if it's dead audio. If I'm looking something up, I'll cut that.
Yeah.
Or I'll put in, like last episode, I put in pictures.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it.
There was some pictures.
Premiere really didn't like those pictures, by the way. They were too high res. So like I was putting them in, and Premiere was like, good.
Man, what happened to having functional software, man? Come on.
That's a good question.
Good question, but yeah, no, editing the show's not too bad. Not too
You
bad.
You can't pay $60 a month for software and expect it to work.
No, not possible.
Anyway, hello and welcome to the 211th installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host Chris, joined by other host Jordan.
That's me, baby.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Remind the people.
As always, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS feed linked below. Also, Instagram, TikTok, you can contact us there. And YouTube, Spotify have the video platform. You can see us. And then also, email us, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send your comments, questions, concerns, and death threats.
Oh, and did you say the RSS feed?
I did.
Okay. I tune you out most of the time.
I tune me out too, honestly.
This is how the podcast goes with Jordan, because I said this a few episodes ago, where this is more an excuse to hang out with my buddy than it is anything else. Jordan comes over, we have our little conversation, we catch up, and then I just tune him out for the rest of the day.
Pretty much. I actually, so you know this, but Thursday I went out for a work dinner, and not a work dinner, a dinner with work people. And while we were there, our senior boss was like, yeah, I found my secret finally for planes. Like, I can't sleep on planes. I can't fall asleep to movies, music, audiobooks, nothing. I said, I just need a really boring podcast. And I looked at him and said,
I got just the thing.
I said to him, I got just the podcast for you. You should listen to mine. And he just looked at me and was like, no.
I listened to you enough, actually.
Yeah. He was like, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay, well, fair enough.
That's fair. That's fair.
I respect it.
I listened to every episode of this show, and I was like, I wouldn't want to listen to this either. So
Me neither. Imagine. Yeah. No, we have some highlights though. I'm just saying.
We got some bangers. But like every podcast though is, especially every riff-based podcast, is like 20%, like 10 to 20%, like really solid, funny shit, and then the other 80 to 90% is garbage.
Yeah, I think we technically started our journey backwards, right? Like the way to do it is like, make YouTube videos, get like a little bit of a following, and then it's like, hey, we know these guys. We want to hear them bullshit for an hour. We were just like, yo, we're just going to bullshit for an hour when no one knows us.
Well, but we're also, I think, of the podcasts I listen to a lot of podcasts. We're like the most grounded one because we're both in it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we got to delay this, or we got to put the kibosh of this project because we're working. We're at our job. I'm at the office.
I got the 9 to 5 calling.
I worked 10 hours the other day. I'm clocked in.
I got class. Oh, dude.
This is a working class podcast.
Oh my god, we should have. I wish I wasn't so in love with our name. That would be a banger name. I feel like the Working Class Podcast.
This is a working class podcast.
Damn. I feel like this podcast watched us grow up. I think I touched on this a few episodes ago, but I feel like we started this podcast and we were so different. Like, we were very different.
Because we were like 18.
Yeah.
Or 19 or something.
Yeah.
And, in 5 years or 6 years, you grow up a lot.
Yeah. I just remember being like a news-centered podcast at first. That was like the idea for a little bit.
That was the idea for a little bit, and then, we got a little silly.
We're like, this sucks.
Like, this is dumb. Let's be funny instead. Let's just talk about bullshit for the entire duration.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, it was supposed to be like this tech-centered thing, and now it's just bullshit.
I remember the first episode. We talked about the RTX 30 series and being like, sure, the price to performance ratio of the RTX 30 series compared to the 20 series is 27% higher.
And we were like, man, the WAN show already exists, so let's just...
For real.
Let's just do something different.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. What have you been up to, Chris? I know I have something I'm passionate about to try to sell you on, but
Well, as you know, Jordan, Thursday night while you were out having dinner, as I invited you to this way too last minute because I forgot about it, was on the way up to New Hampshire. This is the whole story. On the way up to New Hampshire, I was in a car with I drove up our engineer boyfriend. I gotta stop that verbal tick. I gotta stop that. I gotta stop doing that. I gotta stop calling people boyfriend. I gotta stop doing that.
it gets even worse because you drove up together. Now you went to this thing together.
Yeah. Well, and he is also gay, so
that doesn't help.
Like that's not a joke though. That's true.
Oh man.
In any case,
Pause.
we're on the way up. And I thought about engineer boy as like a title, and I was like, that doesn't work anymore. Like we all work in the same field now, so it doesn't work. But anyway, regardless, we're on our way up, and we're just on the highway, and he's like on his phone, and he goes, "Hey, there's a Kevin James stand-up show that we can get tickets to if you want to do that." And I was like, "That's awesome. Let's do that."
It was awesome. Yeah.
So he was like, "Oh, there's cheap tickets, and then there's like a little more expensive tickets, but they're front row. Like, got to get the front row tickets, obviously." And they were still pretty cheap. It was like $95
That's not bad at all.
for front row tickets. So we got 3 because there was like 3 seats at the end of the front row, and I was like, "Yeah, just get all 3, and we'll find someone else to go with us." And then I forgot about it. And then a few weeks later, I messaged him, like I was on my way out of the office, and I messaged him. I was like, "Did we buy tickets to a Kevin James show, or did I make that up? Did I dream that?" He goes, "No, we did. We absolutely did." And I was like, "When is that? We should figure that out." So it was on Thursday. So we're trying to scramble to find someone because it was like the show's is like Monday or Tuesday. And the show's real soon, so we got to find someone to go with us. So I asked Jordan. Jordan had his dinner that he went to, and then everyone else was like, "Nah." So
which is surprising. That was so awesome.
And so we had another one of our pals from work go with us. So we saw Kevin James live in show, and if he comes around to your town, you should see him. He's pretty funny. He's actually like pretty funny. It was honestly like a very well structured and put together comedy show. I've been to a few comedy shows, and it's usually just like they have their act and it's just stories and jokes and stuff, and then it just wraps up. This was kind of like a all encompassing, like a perfect circle of a comedy show wrapped around this one bit where Kevin James was like, he had this thing where he's talking to somebody and this person is encouraging some kind of bad behavior that he wants to do. And then he'll stop and he'll go, "But I'm not whatever that person is. I'm just a voice in your head."
Yeah. I'm not your mom.
So he did this bit like 4 different times throughout the show, and he brought it back pretty well every time. And he did like musical breaks. He had a bunch of musical numbers he did. He did one about, he did a rap song. He had this whole bit, I didn't tell you about this, but he's had this whole bit about going to parent-teacher conferences. And he said he had to put on a suit, but he's not a suit guy, so he washed his suit in like the washer and dryer instead of having it dry clean, so it shrank like crazy. And he's like, "So my suit's really tight, and I'm walking around trying to get inside, and then they got all the teachers there in the gym, and there's these little plastic chairs, these tiny chairs here that are, and I'm talking to the gym teacher. He was first, and like he was, you know, sit down. And he's like, I'm working on it. And he's like, I'm slowly getting down, and I'm like, yeah. Let's. And he's like, yeah, tell me how my kid's doing. Tell me how she's doing. And he kind of does this whole bit about slowly kind of working his way into the seat, and then the suit pants split on the first thing, on the first meeting. So he just takes off. He's like, I'm not doing this.
Fair. Good call.
And he did a rap song about it, which all the songs he did were purposely really terrible. The meter and shit was like all off. It was like none of it rhymed. It was great.
Purposeful bad rap is funny.
And mind you, by the way, all these musical numbers he had actual artists record them in a studio and then played them at the end of the show, like as we were walking out. So he had like this sort of this one about the rap song about sitting in the chair and the chair almost breaking and ripping his pants and whatever. And then he had one about how much he hates fish. That was like this country ballad. And he had a similar sort of country ballad about his wife's friend, Fat Michelle. He calls Fat Michelle. And it kind of is brought around at the end where he goes on this tear for like half an hour about how much he hates Fat Michelle. I hate Fat Michelle. Where's this fat ass Michelle? I fucking hate her. I was like, I hate her. And at the end, he does this whole reveal. He's like, I am Fat Michelle. And it was kind of this like, in a way, introspective sort of thing of like his own self-loathing that he projects out.
Right.
So it was a surprisingly deep and actually more, I don't want to say avant-garde, but like it was a more artsy performance than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was like, oh, it's Kevin James.
He's gonna riff.
It's this dipshit from fucking Paul Blart. He's gonna do something stupid on stage, and it's fine. He brought out like a guitar, and there was a ton of issues with the sound system, by the way. So
typical.
He's got this guitar plugged in. It's this acoustic guitar, and he's like strumming away, and he's like strumming, and he's like, "Can you hear that? Can you hear that?" He's like yelling to the top deck. He's like, "Can you guys hear that even?" And for some reason, like whatever it was plugged into just wasn't going through. So like someone ran out on stage with another microphone and put it up to the guitar. He's like, "Oh, perfect." So he's like playing a couple notes, and then he's talking about the city we're in, how much it sucks.
And he's not wrong.
He's like, there's nothing here. It's a pretty lousy town, but I do love the town. So I wrote a little song about it. And he's just like, the whole time he's on this bit for like 5 or 10 minutes. And the whole time he's playing like the same like 2 or 3 guitar, like the 2 or 3 notes on the guitar. And then he's like, I had a little song and it goes like this. 1, 2. I'm kidding. I don't know how to play the guitar. I've been playing the same 2 notes the whole time. It was pretty good.
Funny.
It was pretty fucking funny. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, we definitely have to catch him if he comes back around.
He's a funny guy. It's definitely a departure from something I would go see normally. His act is very it's very like bombastic and silly, and it's pretty clean actually. Like he's not saying anything too crazy.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of his style. Yeah.
I feel like the harshest thing he said is like he called Fat Michelle like a fat bitch or something. And that was like the craziest thing he said. That was kind of it.
It's nice to have a show like that sometimes.
I don't mind clean comedy, but
just gotta be funny.
It's usually not something I watch.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I went to go see the Kevin James. I would see him again, honestly, if he came back around.
Yeah, I definitely, if I find out he's coming around, I gotta go see it.
We're gonna go see Kevin James. Yeah. So I saw.
You should wear a Paul Blart shirt. That'd be really funny.
I had the thought that because I was in the front row, and like if he did any crowd work or whatever, and he pointed to me, I was gonna say something to the effect of like, I haven't kept up with you since I watched Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
And got really drunk.
So I don't know. Just because I wanted to see what his reaction would be. Because I feel like he'd be like, "Oh, that movie was dog shit" or something like that, or he would be like, I would almost want to see him be like, Get the fuck out of my show. Get out right now.
Stop heckling.
Get out. I'm not kidding. Leave.
He pulls out a gun.
Leave.
He's like, get that fat boy out of here. I don't know. I think you could take him. I think you could take him in the fight. Maybe.
Kevin James?
Although I don't know. He did train for Here Comes the Boom.
Oh, he's big now though. He gained he lost that body that he had. He's pretty
I think
big
you got
now.
him. I don't know. You have the reach on him.
I think so. Yeah.
With a
Because
couple jabs.
yeah, I found he's 5'8", because he talked about the big and tall store, and he goes, I go to the big and tall store. Guess which one I am? Because he just point me to the big. Show me where the big is. I need big.
I can just like hear that in his voice and his cadence too.
It was funny. He's a funny guy. I didn't think he was gonna be funny. I'll be honest. I didn't have high expectations.
I want to see like an Adam Sandler show because he's just like a classic too. Like another one of those, you know.
Adam Sandler also is another guy that I wouldn't think would be funny in stand-up. Mm-hmm. I feel like even in movies he's not super funny.
Yeah,
He's got a way about him that he acts, but like I don't think
You don't find him particularly.
I don't think he's particularly that funny. He's got a few good movies, but his newer ones are pretty terrible.
Fair. I still want to watch Hubie Halloween. I don't know how that went. That was his newer Halloween.
Oh yeah, it was a couple years ago it came out.
Like 2 years, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, but like I think in the Big Daddy Click era, which I think Click was like 05, I think Big Daddy was like 99 or something like that. Billy Madison,
Waterboy.
Those movies were pretty good, and I think he was pretty funny in those ones. But I don't know. I think he lost his touch after a while.
That's fair.
And he was just relegated to the sphere of like shit-tiered family comedies. I think Kevin James is the same way.
Kinda, yeah.
Relegated to shit-tier family comedies. And like he did bring something to a lot of those movies. I still maintain that Barnyard Party Animals, where he voices Otis, the main character, is actually pretty funny. Because no one gave a shit about that movie. So there's a ton of stuff like super low in the mix where Kevin James is just muttering to himself in the booth. He's like, he's just like making remarks under his breath that like
they probably just forgot to cut.
Yeah. So there's especially in the scene where they're getting chased by the cops, there's a ton of shit that just goes way low in the mix that's really fucking funny.
Yeah.
So recommend.
Yeah, I mean that was a good time. It was a good movie. He does seem to add something. He has an energy about him, you know.
Yeah. He's got a way.
And his delivery is good typically, like his cadence and stuff.
Yeah.
Like even in like Paul Blart, just the little things he does, like in Paul Blart when he's trying to juke someone and he's like side to side, he just looks like a fucking goober doing it. So it's just funny.
He's gonna get this goober way about him.
Yeah. So I like Kevin James. Definitely gonna catch him in show at some point. So anything else you had going on?
No, not really. I'm pretty boring these days.
Fair enough. Well, you know what I've been doing?
What's that?
A little game that I've been excited for quite a while came out. It's Dying Light the Beast. That came out.
And that's the one where you fight Mr. Beast, right?
Yeah. He puts you in the Terror Dome. $1 million, 1 million survivors. Every person you kill is $1.
Okay, right.
That whole thing. Yeah. No, but Dying Like the Beast is freaking phenomenal. Like,
is it?
Like, it's so hard to put into words just how good the game is. And I think it has merits on its own as like a standalone. So essentially, the story goes that Dying Light 1 came out in 2016. I believe it was 2016. Might have been 15. Was super popular, was like revolutionary for the zombie genre, a genre that had otherwise been fairly stagnant. You know, Dead Island was like the main thing. Now, mind you, the devs of Dying Light made Dead Island 1, the original one.
And you can see a lot of that game in Dying Light.
Exactly. Think of it as Dead Island, but fast-paced, so you got the parkour and stuff like that.
Dead Island, but you're also like Ezio.
Essentially. And your voice actor is Ezio's voice actor, so go figure.
There you go.
So Dying Light came out, was very like wow for the time. It was open world. It had RPG mechanics with skills and tools and equipment levels and damage levels. And then it got had a fantastic story, of course, and then it had for a zombie game. And then it had a really good expansion that expanded upon it. The main characters, of course, really well liked, really well voiced. Performances were pretty good from the main cast. Side cast had that like Ubisoft,
that
NPC style,
that B team sort of energy.
Yeah, but the main cast was really solid. Likable characters, sad moments, happy moments, badass moments, a lot of stuff. Now, the second game came out, and the second game is a little bit tumultuous because a lot of people may not know this, but the reason the game is called Dying Light is because that is a mechanic in the game. Nighttime is literally the mechanic the game is based around, where during the day, the UV from the sun makes the zombies like zombies. They're slow. There's some fast ones in there, but for the most part, they're just like regular old, like, I'm going to eat you zombies. But at night, when the sun goes down, they get like supercharged. And then bigger, more badass monsters come out, specifically volatiles. Which
So
are
for
like the
Dying Light
apex.
2, we got rid of the day-night cycle.
So with Dying Light 1, you're introduced to volatiles, right? They're like the apex predator, essentially. Dying Light 2 comes out and tells a very similar story of like a survivor who gets infected and is managing that infection and this and that. And it's not like The Walking Dead where it's like you get a bite and you're done. They have drugs and stuff you take that suppress the symptoms and can prevent infection. So it's kind of like you're infected, but you got to keep it at bay. So Dying Light 2 comes out, introduces a stamina bar for climbing. So you, at the start of the game, you get essentially like all of your stamina drained, and you're like, all right, I can only climb 10 feet before the character has to let go now. So that reduces your parkour, abilities.
Okay.
Substantially. And because your character's infected, they changed the way that the infection worked in that game, where instead of taking suppressants, he has a special type of infection where he only comes out at night. So now at nighttime, your watch starts beeping, and you have a timer for how long you can be out at night, and it starts really short. It starts like 5 minutes. So literally, you can be outside for 5 minutes at night. And as the game progresses through the story, you get blockers and things like that, and you level up and all these skills, and eventually you can be outside for like 20, 30 minutes. But again, kind of defeats the purpose of the game. It was supposed to be that nighttime was terrifying. So the day-night cycle was a little wonky in the second game. They added the freaking stamina bar. They added the suppressants that you needed. They added health bars to zombies, which is never like a cool thing to do, honestly. Maybe for bosses, of course, but like regular zombies, like I don't want a health bar on them.
Right.
They leaned a little bit too heavily into the RPG side of it, where the zombies had levels. So like you would wander into one part of town, and suddenly these zombies who look identical to the ones you were fighting were level 12, but you were level 5, so they'd one-shot you. So like shit like that. And I'm not talking about like different types of zombies, right? It's not like you wander into this part of town and there's volatiles. No, it's just regular old zombies.
Yeah. Give me a zombie type versus like just a fucking, this is the same thing, but a higher level.
Exactly. So then Dying Light 2 gets patched, and they fixed all that stuff within the first couple years.
Well, the nighttime mechanic, you can only be out for a certain amount of time. There's no mechanic by which like you can, because it would be cool if you're out past that time, you turn and then you can have like this controlled sort of enhanced zombie form.
That's what people thought it was going to be.
This sort of semi-controlled sort of thing.
Yeah, but no, you just die, essentially.
So how does he sleep? Does he sleep just under concentrated UV?
Essentially, yeah.
That can't be good for your DNA.
He's got to be in UV light.
That's really got to be bad for your DNA.
So that becomes like a thing, right? Where it's like, okay, they took away the heart of it, right? What Dying Light was, they took that away. And Dying Light 2, I would most similarly compare it to like any of the newer Assassin's Creed games, where they focused way too much on gear levels and stat blocks and all this stuff. So that game was supposed to have 2 DLCs, and then one of them came out, wasn't very well received. It was okay. It was basically just like filler content, didn't really add a lot to it. So then they canceled the second DLC and made Dying Light the Beast instead.
Okay.
Now the Beast, what it does is it brings back the character from the first game. It skips 13 years from the first game, brings him back, who now has a very similar circumstance to the second character after Dying Light 1, where he's infected and has this ability to turn into a zombie. The difference is they streamlined a lot of things. So the gear levels, they only top out at like, oh, you can get a military vest, and that's the highest gear resistant you have.
Right.
Or you could have like a shirt which has less gear resistance, but maybe gives you like bonuses to running and jumping and climbing, or like specifically parkour damage if you drop kick and shit like that. So like they streamlined the gear system. You don't have to worry too much about all these pluses and minuses and blah blah blah, and made the map a little bit smaller, which was whatever. And focused in the story. They got rid of the stamina bar for climbing. You do, of course, still have a stamina bar for combat, but they got rid of the one for climbing specifically, so you can climb as much as you want. You can hang off a ledge as much as you want, do all these parkour moves as much as you want, which is how the first game was, how it should be. And then they introduced cars, specifically trucks, like 4x4 trucks, which is interesting. And they got rid of the health bars, except for bosses. Bosses have health bars, of course. But yeah, they got rid of the health bars on regular zombies, and the level cap's a little bit different. Like you do level up and you get stronger and more abilities, but it's not like the first game where like you can't be out at night and shit like that. In this game, the difference is you can control that beast side. So after doing a certain amount of damage or taking damage, you can go into like a beast mode and just tear shit up. So that's the big mechanic.
Imagine if they would have put that in the last game.
Right.
Because that's really cool.
Yeah. So, and I will say, I don't know if the game does this on purpose. I don't know if it does like a tiered sort of beast progression where like it determines what will happen at what times. But there was times where I was like in a fight and my beast bar was almost full. And I killed one more zombie, and all of a sudden a bunch of blips popped up around me, and it was what's called virals. They're basically the infected that just turned, so they still run, jump, climb. They're fast as fuck, and they just attack like crazy. They're not like shambling zombies. And I got surrounded, and I'm just hearing, and I'm seeing my health bar get destroyed, and I'm like, oh my god. So I literally, this is early in the game before you unlock the skill to choose when to go into beast mode. It happens randomly. So, well, not randomly. When your meter hits full, it automatically triggers, and you can't leave it until it runs out. So it happened that literally the game like waited until my bar was almost full. I hit one more zombie, then the virals came out, and them hitting me filled the bar the rest of the way. Right before I died, he just burst out into beast mode. They all go flying back, and then the music ramps up, and I just start killing everything. I'm like, I don't know if the game planned that, because this wasn't like a mission. This was just me walking around the open world. But I was like, that was fucking awesome.
That's pretty cool.
It gave me like Spider-Man 2, like the symbiote vibes.
Yeah.
Where like that first time you pop into the symbiote surge, when the controller starts to like tremble and like shit's kicking off, I was like, this is fucking sick. It was so dope. But this game, the reason I brought up the first game, the second game, and that whole story is I'm not a music buff, right? I don't pay attention to music. I can't even sing any song besides Happy Birthday, word for word. Like, I don't know lyrics or nothing. I listen to music as like a passive. But I do appreciate good music in games, like the good score in Red Dead, Death Stranding. I love all those music, but I couldn't sing any of those songs. Dying Light's theme, the first game, it's a little bit like an 80s lo-fi, like dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, like something like that. Almost like Halloween in a way, like that sort of, what is that instrument called? Is it a keyboard, I guess, technically?
I was saying, like, it's very, like, synthy.
Synth, that's the word I'm looking for, yeah.
You're saying it's like 80s.
Yeah,
like
80s synth is what it's been called before. So the first game is very much like that, and I have that theme, like, ingrained in my brain, and I like the theme. The second game changed it up. I hated the theme for the second game. I hate the main theme song for the second game. The Dying Like the Beast, when I first booted up the game and I started the story, and you start the story and you're doing your thing, and then you find out that you have this beast mode. Dude, when you enter beast mode for the first time and the score is an acoustic version of the first game's theme, but faster, shit. I was like shaking. I was genuinely shaking with like, holy crap, this is awesome. Like, I guess it probably stems from knowing the theme so well compared to other games where I don't know them as well. But, like, dude, I was like, this is incredible. So the score for this game is phenomenal. The score is awesome. It's all, like, plays on the first game. So it does do a little bit of, like, nostalgia bait in that way, but, like, not egregious nostalgia bait where it's like, remember what happened?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I'm amazed at how reserved they are with this character who basically doesn't talk about what happened in the first game. Like, he acknowledges it. He'll be like, yeah, you know, that shit happened. It was crazy. But, like, for the most part, he's on a goal right now, and that's all he cares about is his goal right now. He's not like, it doesn't pan the camera around and he goes, hey, remember what happened in Haran? Remember that?
I remember that.
But like, they do like the whole like trauma thing where like it shows you a couple flashbacks in the beginning and throughout the game of like things that happened in the first game that were like traumatic for this character and him coming to terms with it after these 13 years. But it's done really well where it's not just like, again, remember what happened? That was really cool, huh? That made you sad the first time. It's more like you're like, man, this character really did go through the most insane amount of trauma and terrible events ever. And that's a whole theme of the game is controlling the beast, right? So the game is just phenomenal. And the story, like without spoiling it, it's pretty good so far. You know, it's not a Red Dead 2, neither was the first game, but it's a very strong story for sure. The gameplay, really, really well refined. The car thing, I will say, the first game had this, but I feel like it wasn't as bad, where a lot of stuff was like, okay, go into this base. All right, you get a quest. You have to go into, let's say, a volatile layer and grab some stuff and get out. Okay, go there, grab it. Okay, now run back to the base, talk to this person. Oh, they referred you to their friend on the other side of town. Okay, run to the other side of town, talk to that person.
Right.
There's a lot of that stuff. This game has it, and I think it might be a little worse because even though the map is smaller, the first game takes place all in a city, or like I guess like not like a city, but it's kind of like a Middle Eastern village sort of vibe. With small rooftops, tall rooftops, all mixed in between. So you're usually on the roofs, like running around.
Right.
Maybe you cut across the highway and then jump onto a like lower suburban area and then run across those roofs. This game has like a town, a swamp, an industrial park, a forest. So like they really rely on that car a lot. Or you can just sprint, but it just takes a while. But there's a lot of times where I feel like I'm just like, all right, I just went and talked to this person. All right, let me sprint to the other side of the map. And I'm like, the movement's fun. The grappling hook, the parkour, it's all really fun. But, eventually I kind of don't want to just run.
It seems like, I don't know, I feel like adding cars to that game would be like adding cars to Spider-Man.
Kind of, yeah.
Like you're going to use the cool movement mechanics. Right?
Yeah. I will say, they did not half-ass the cars, though. They feel great.
Interesting.
Like if you are taking a sharp turn through like a flooded area and like you're coming down a dirt hill, you take a sharp turn and you hit the flooded area, your ass end will kick out and you'll start spinning.
That's pretty cool.
It's really cool. It's not like a Mud Runner ass simulation, and it's not like a GTA. It's like somewhere in between where there's some cool physics to it. It's good. But yeah, I found myself using the car a handful of times. Again, I'm just glad it's not half-assed. Like it feels good to drive the car. The only thing that's a little tedious is like, you don't get a car. They just spawn in the same, 10 locations on the map. So, it doesn't really
it's kind of lame.
It's kind of lame in that way. And then, if you have a car, you have to get gas cans to put in it. But you don't actually have to pick up the can. It's like you search, and it'll be like, you found one fuel. And then you can top off the tank. But, you don't keep the car, so it doesn't matter. You top off the tank, and then you drive to your destination, and then you ditch the car, and it's gone forever. And then you have to do it again with the next car. So that part of it's a little half-assed. But the driving mechanics are solid, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's kind of dumb.
Yeah. I wish you would get a car. Specifically get one. That'd be cool.
I think a lot of times fuel mechanics in games is kind of weak. I'll be honest. Kind of weak. I think something like SnowRunner has a fuel mechanic. I think something like that makes sense because it's a simulation, but it's a game entirely about resource management.
And fuel is a resource.
So that makes sense. But if you're just sticking resource management like that into a game, just on top of it, in terms of you're just kind of slapped onto there rather than being an integral part of the game, it just feels kind of weak. Mm-hmm. Especially when you don't keep the fucking... keep it.
And that's the weird part is these devs have already proved that they can do that because the reason there's a car is likely because they're calling back to the DLC for Dying Light 1. Dying Light 1 had the DLC, the expansion called The Following, which is what wrapped up that story to lead into this one. And that was the first one where you get a buggy. You have actual a buggy that you can upgrade and put things on, and fuel was a mechanic, but you kept that buggy. You didn't just typically find them. You had a specific buggy that was yours, and it became an integral part of that expansion because you were in more of a kind of like a Midwestern like plains area, so there was less rooftops to run on and stuff. So there was still parkour, but it was like, oh no, you're actually going to take a buggy to outrun volatiles to get to this mission, to get to UV lighting. So it leaned into that. So I thought that's what this was going to be more like, was like, oh, in Chapter 1, Kyle's going to get a car. And now you have this car that you can either upgrade or just ditch it or whatever you want to do. But no, you just find the same vehicle spawned in like 10 different locations on the map. So it is a little half-assed in that regard.
It's a little weak, I'll be honest.
Which is why I find myself not using the car, like ever. Except for missions where you need to.
Kind of weak. I felt a similar way in an odd sort of way. I felt kind of similar about any of the cars in Cyberpunk. It's like you get, I don't know, pretty early on in the game, you get like an okay car, and there's like no fucking reason to use any of the other ones.
Yeah.
It's a different situation, I guess, but like, and especially if you do Pan Am's quest line, you get access to the area where the best car in the game is, and you just get it for free. So what's the point of using any other car? Yeah. I think the cars in that game are like a pretty weak aspect of...
It's one of the less developed aspects, for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty weak for, in terms of a system. But what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of...
It's kind of like Red Dead 1 with the horse, in a way. Where the difference being that like Red Dead 1, the horse mechanic is part of that game. That is your cool traversal. But like Red Dead 1 to 2 is kind of that same energy, where it's like 1, you just have like a horse. You're like, yeah, I just call him.
An horse.
2, you're more like, this is my horse. I take care of him. I got to feed him at 8 a.m. sharp.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone hits my horse, God forbid, this town is getting detonated. Like, yeah. So, I feel like it could have been a cool mechanic to have a car in Dying Light where maybe you have to like take care of it. Which I think would have made more sense in a bigger, like maybe a Dying Light 3. In this game, they wanted it to be more of like it's a decent size map. It's not small by any means, but it's not a Assassin's Creed Odyssey thing. So
could it have been? Isn't that how the bike works in Christ? What's that game? The zombie biker game.
Oh, Days Gone.
Days Gone. Isn't that kind of how the bike works? Where it's like you keep it for the duration of the game and it gets upgraded every so often.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually,
so like I think that would be cool. Is like if you had one vehicle and you just slowly get upgrades for it over time.
Well, and the thing about that game is that's another actually perfect example because the bike handles like a bike. As far as I know, I mean, I've never driven a chopper, but like as you can imagine how a game should play where you're driving that type of motorcycle, it very much handles like one. And there is that little sense of attachment where like, sure, it can get destroyed and you repair it in 30 seconds, but like you still want to see this thing get upgraded and not just leave it behind. And if I'm not mistaken, if for some reason you do leave the bike behind in Days Gone, it's been a while since I played, I don't think you can just get it back. I think you can go to camp and pay someone to retrieve it. Mm-hmm. But if you're like in the middle of the woods and you left your bike at camp, that's it. You're on foot. Like you have no option to get that, to just summon a new one or do anything.
Right.
So like that's kind of what I guess I would have wanted out of like Dying Light in a way, where maybe like you have all your safe zones. Maybe, you can have the car be accessible there. But, like, it is weird where it's like, oh, if I need a car, I got to run to the grocery store. There's one in the lot, and I can just, like, get in it and drive.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of weak.
So, there was definitely better ways to do it. But I would say that's probably, like, the only, like, truly weak aspect of the game. The side quests, in my opinion, are better than the second game. I don't remember a ton of them in the first game. Because it's been so long since I played it. I know Dying Light as a series has had iffy side quests because of some of their voice acting and things like that and like their weird quests. This game's a lot more strong. There's way less of them. They're all with important story characters and they all feel really additive to the main plot. There is only one that's like hey, we have racing challenges in this game and this quest is going to introduce you to those, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's the only one that's kind of like, whatever. But the rest are all really good side quests. The main story's good. The voice acting's better all around. So I don't know. It's a very good Dying Light game for sure. And I hope they either make DLC for this one or more likely they just make like a Dying Light 3. But man,
Dying Light 3.
I feel like everyone has to play Dying Light at some point. Like I feel like it is the zombie game. you know, like of that style of zombie games. Like there's obviously room for things like
Yeah.
The Last of Us or Days Gone, but I feel like of first person, craft a melee weapon, put mods on a melee weapon, that style of zombie game, I feel like it is the one. Like Dead Island 2 was really good for the combat, and funny enough, that's where they kind of did a little push and shove with each other. Was Dying Light 2 had pretty weak gore, and the first one, truthfully, but weak gore and combat, but was really good for the movement. Dead Island 2 came out and was like, hey, the movement's nowhere near as fun or as accessible as Dying Light. We're very limited. You're just like a guy on the ground with a melee weapon.
Right.
But our gore is like best in class for any video game that's ever existed. So then that's when Dying Light 2 did their big revamp. They called it the Blood and Gore update.
Oh, okay.
And they added the Blood and Gore, similar to to Dead Island 2. But now Dying Light, the Beast, takes that to like the next level where I think personally it exceeds Dead Island 2. Like, it's very impressive, the gore system. So, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've definitely I've tried to play the first game, and I've started the first game so many times.
The first one has a slow ass opening.
Like I just like at this point, I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't.
You've never played Ghost of Tsushima, right?
No.
So it's funny. Dying Light 1 and Ghost of Tsushima to me have the opposite issue from each other. Where Dying Light 2, I've played it. I've genuinely, like, without trying to hyperbolize, I think I've probably beaten it 7 to 9 times because when that game first came out, I was still like in middle school. So actually it was freshman year technically around that time. So that's all I had. Like I wasn't buying games every week. I didn't have a job. Really.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna play this to death, right? So I've probably beaten about 7 to 9 times, and that game's really good to replay after the first 3 hours. If you're playing it for the first time, it's fine. But after trying to replay it, you have to get through like 3 to 4 hours before it's like, okay, we're back in the fun stuff.
There's a ton of games that I play a lot that have replay killers in them. And that sounds like a real replay killer. It's like the first few hours of this game just suck.
Yeah.
Where play.
Ghost of Tsushima, I have the opposite issue where I really, really love like every second of that game, even some of the bullshit side stuff, but like the prologue, it's like 2 hours long, but man, is it really fun, and it really sets the tone for the story. It's not like a bullshit prologue. But when you do New Game Plus, because who's going to replay it not doing New Game Plus? You want to be fully kitted from the start. It makes you skip the prologue. It goes, hey, we're going to jump you right to where we showed the title card. And I'm like, that sucks.
I think that should be an option. You should be able to play it.
Exactly. So what I did, the time I replayed it on PS4, I just started a new save without doing New Game Plus, did the prologue, and then when I hit the title screen, I backed out, deleted that save, and started a New Game Plus. Just so I could like experience that. But like that's the opposite issue. I'm like, why are you taking this from me? You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
On the flip side, I wish Dying Light would do that. I wish it'd be like, hey, you want us to drop you into like Act 1? Like, yes, please, thank you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I beg of you. Because you gotta go through the whole, like, oh no, here's how the infection works, and here's the medicine you need to treat it. And I'm like, I know all this. Like,
yeah.
Run and go grab this medicine and use a pipe to fight a zombie, and the character goes, oh my god, what's going on? Because he has no idea what the fuck's going on. Skip to the part where he's like a badass already, and I'm like, all right, we got this, you know?
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of stuff that's put in video games that is a replay killer. I think,
I know what you're going to say.
There's a part of God of War Ragnarok, huge replay killer. There's like 3 hours where you fuck around and do literally nothing.
Ironwood.
Guarma, I call that a replay killer, but that's so far into the game that like you're on momentum at that point.
Well, and also that part can be fairly short if you just like...
I blitz through it every time.
It, yeah.
If you blitz through it, it's like you can do that in like a couple hours.
Yeah.
And that's, you know.
And at least it's still Red Dead, so you're still shooting stuff, which is fun.
Yeah.
It's not like it's just like all dialogue or something.
I think Skyrim replay killer is the intro. Mm-hmm. The unskippable carriage cutscene. Like if they just made that skippable... Do you know how many more people would be replaying this game on like consoles? On PC, people just have the mod to skip it, but
right.
You know. Anyway,
I feel like for Spider-Man 2018, the beginning of that's a replay killer for me. The part where you do the really cool opening with Kingpin,
yeah,
and then it's like, okay, now we're going to introduce you to hacking the towers. So you're going to do that. And then we're going to blip you with, hey, look, there's a crime. Go fight the crime. And you have to do that for like 45 minutes until it's like, all right, now you're in the open world.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Spider-Man 2 doesn't have that as bad in my opinion because it just drops you right in after the Sandman encounter. It's just like, all right, you're in open world now. There's like some of that where it's like, you got to do this. But
The Witcher 3 doesn't really have any solid replay killers in it, I don't think.
no, I would say for me... No, because the Witcher 3 pretty much just like I'd say the tutorial is, but you can skip it, which is nice.
Yeah.
But once you're past the tutorial, it's like, okay, you're riding into town, there's the Griffin attack, and there you go. There's your first quest.
Yeah, you're pretty on it from the beginning. Yeah. Red Dead 2, in terms of the beginning of the game, you're pretty on it from the beginning.
Yeah, Red Dead 2, I really enjoyed Coulter. A lot of people don't. I get why, because it is just like a drawn-out tutorial. But I really like Chapter 1. I like Coulter a lot. I think it helps set the tone for the story that you're trying to replay, you know? Cyberpunk, I wouldn't say it's a killer, per se, but like some of the early stuff with Jackie, I'm kind of just like, meh, you know?
Yeah.
Because you already know where it's going. You got to get your fucking head blown off so that you can start the actual story.
Yeah.
So.
And I still maintain that, like, I think that was done well, but I feel like it could have been done better. I feel like that section of the game could have been drawn out a lot more so that you like really get to sit in this and you really get to be buddies with Jackie.
Like VX, yeah.
Yeah, and then instead of just doing this time jump of you doing a bunch of cool stuff together and then and then he dies.
Well, because I think it is a little jarring the way the game sets up, like, hey, this is Jackie. Yeah, screw you, man. I don't like you. And then it's like, all right, here's like a 45 to a minute and a half montage, and now you're like, yo, what's up, dog?
Yeah,
like,
you're
what
buddies
up, dude?
now.
You're like, I'm supposed to like
I feel
this
like
guy?
that should be, you should like go on a few jobs together and then maybe do some like time skips between that.
Yeah.
But so you get to like kind of, really get to know this guy a lot better.
Yeah.
That would be interesting, and the story of that game is relatively short too.
The main story, it's like 10, 12 hours.
Yeah, you can if you blitz through that game, I think honestly the full story of that game it's a little longer. It's maybe like 15 hours. It's very short.
Unless you do the Dogtown start of it for like that ending, if you want those endings.
Oh yeah.
Then it's like 20.
So that's. I think they could have drawn that out a little more, and it would have made more sense. Yeah. But it doesn't. It avoids. It does just enough to avoid the Ubisoft thing of. Here's the first mission of every single Ubisoft game. Here's you, main character, and your best friend.
Or your dad.
Or your dad, or like your brother, or something. In 32 seconds, they get shot in the head. And that is your inciting incident, which is like fine, I guess. It's fine motivation, but maybe pick something else next time. You can only do that so often.
Yeah, it's fair. Shadows does that in a way, but I found Assassin's Creed Shadows too. It's almost like they took the advice of like what we've been saying for years, because Shadows does have that. Because I mean, that's the whole point of the story: is your family gets killed and you hunt down these people who end up being part of like the Templars, essentially. But it has like a solid like 2 hours before that happens. Like there is one major death right in the opening where you're like, okay, it's Ubisoft. Yeah. But then it's like, oh, now we're gonna keep going, and then there is kind of like not like a shocking death, but like oh wow, like we're doing this. Oh, now the story is actually starting. Like it's probably like an hour or two in. So I give them credit for that.
Yeah,
for taking their time a little bit more.
Fair.
It is usually genuinely 30 to 40 seconds. Like.
I think of like iconic game openings. I'll go back to Skyrim. Like, yeah, you're on this cart. You're about to be arrested. Find out suddenly you're going to be executed because you're with Stormcloak rebels. With Ulfric Stormcloak. It's like you're cooked, and then you're about to get executed. And holy shit, there's a dragon here.
Yeah.
That's a pretty iconic opening. That's pretty solid. I think there's Red Dead 2 kind of does where it's like there's a death that happens, but by the time the game starts, that person's already dead.
Yeah.
Like they're transporting someone across the mountains, or they're moving across the mountains, and they're like, oh, Davy's been injured, and now Davy dies like 10 seconds into the game, but it's not a this is your best friend, and now he's dead. It's this guy got in a job we did, and he's dead now.
Yeah.
Like, he's been dead.
It does a good job of setting the tone for the people at the camp. So you're like, oh, they're all really dour right now.
Yeah.
They're kind of down and out.
And it's not like the game's premise isn't let's avenge Davy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So,
goddamn Pinkertons.
yeah, it's not that. So I don't know. I think maybe Ubisoft needs to change their story structure just like a little bit.
Yeah. Have you? I'm excited for Ghost of Yotei coming out on Thursday. Do you know anything about that compared to Shadows?
No.
So it's weird. It's very weird because, as I just mentioned, Assassin's Creed Shadows takes place. I believe it's the Isu era. I'm not a historian, but I believe this is what I've heard. It's the Isu era.
Okay.
And obviously, it's got the Assassins and Templar thing going on where you have an artifact. Your character doesn't know what the artifact is, but it's been in your family for generations. You get hunted down. Mom and pops get got. Now you're on a revenge quest on behalf of them. Ghost of Yotei takes place in the Isu era. Your mom and dad get killed by a group of bandits, and the entire game is hunting down this group of bandits. Oddly similar.
Interesting.
Like, very oddly similar. So, I don't know what I don't know if maybe that type of tale is popular for that time, like that timepiece, but like, very odd. You know? And obviously, Shadows does have the whole, like, Yasuke thing, where you have his story, which is different than both of those, but...
Right.
Yeah, it's just weird. So I feel like I'm going to be playing Assassin's Creed Shadows 2.0 on Thursday, but I don't know. I just find that so jarring that they both have the same concept from the get-go, but I don't know if there's a reason for that. I don't know. And obviously Shadows came out first, but like obviously they didn't copy Shadows because with how long Yotei's been in development, you couldn't have seen Shadows and been like, "Oh, let's make that." It's not possible. So these games were kind of happening parallel for a while. Shadows just happened to come out first.
It's curious how that happened, though.
Yeah. Very weird. It makes me wonder if there's, like, a story of that time period that's popular that I don't know about, that is that kind of story. If it's, like, a common thing.
Or, yeah, it could be tradition, where, like, I know the concepts of storytelling in, like, stuff... in like the more Eastern world is different than what we have in the Western world. They tell stories differently. So maybe that's just a common thing that they have culturally.
Could be.
That makes sense. Or it could just be entirely coincidence. Like, this is a decent enough motivation to get your character involved in what's going on. Because it is a hard sell in a lot of cases to say this is a normal guy and now and now he's got to kill people. Yeah. Because that's extreme. That's a little much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, sometimes I kind of feel like the GTA games have that. Obviously, they're not as story-centric as, like, Red Dead. But sometimes, like, when I play GTA 5 and, like, Franklin starts off as, like, that, I don't want to say innocent character, but by comparison, innocent character, I'm like, okay, like, I get it. He's doing his thing. And then Michael's just kind of like, fuck it, I'm back to killing. Like, immediately. I'm back to killing. I'm like, man. And the story of that game does take actions to, like, address that and be like, why am I so okay with killing? Like, he's going to therapy and stuff. Right. But it's still just, like, jarring versus, like, Red Dead. I don't know. It's just, like, you're the bad guy in essence. So you're just like, all right.
We're already established. Well, I guess, yeah, with Michael's story, yeah, you are established to be this, like, you know, this former criminal in witness protection or whatever. And the inciting incident for Michael getting back into real crime is pretty good. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, like, it's when he pulls down the house.
Yeah, right? He finds this guy banging his wife and he, like, chases him down. He hides in this big mansion and pulls it, and he pulls the fucking thing off the hill.
Off its supports, yeah.
Which, mind you, there's in that mission, there's a truck that Michael has that never appears ever again in the game.
True.
I don't know where the fuck that truck goes.
Maybe Martin took it or whatever.
Maybe.
Part of the collateral.
So at least there was some motivation there, and, like, it made sense.
Yeah. And then he kind of just pulls Franklin in as, like, a underling.
Yeah. Kind of rolls him into the
fur.
Because obviously it's like this guy doesn't really have a lot of issues doing things that are definitely illegal. So this guy didn't have an issue when he did a B&E on my house.
Yeah. To get back a car.
Yeah, to get back a single car for some slimy fucking used car salesman.
Yeah. But he's not like Trevor. He's not a psycho, you know?
Yeah, like you know, if it's like they got Trevor to do it, he'd show up and kill and eat everybody, and then you know, burn
he would
the
have
house
just kicked
down.
in the door and burned the house down, took the car.
Yeah, it would have been, you know, it would have been on the news.
Yeah, national.
Yeah.
National news.
International news.
So, yeah, so like sometimes with the GTA games I have that hard time. Kind of like I guess it's the same thing now that you like kind of said that. It made me think of GTA 4 cuz I love GTA 4. It's my favorite GTA hands down. And the story is very similar in the sense of you're not a criminal, but you're a war veteran who did bad things in the war. And you're trying to make a life for yourself, and then you accidentally screw over some rich people who are now holding you for like collateral. Essentially, they're like,
Yep.
you got to get us this money, or we're ending you. So then you get back into not back into, but you get into a life of crime to get the money to do that thing, and then it's like a spiraling rabbit hole. You know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Definitely is interesting. I don't know. That's all I'll say on that topic.
Yeah, that's all I got. I just want to say that the Beast was awesome, and then Shadows and Yote. I haven't played the Shadows expansion yet because the Beast, but I'm excited for Ghost of Yote. I'll have that to talk about next time. I've heard decent things about it. I have heard it's some people are mad because you're not a samurai, but like because that was the whole point of the first game is you become the ghost by going against the samurai code, but like
Right.
But like I think the point is like the ghost is supposed to be like a symbol at this point. That's kind of what it was in the first game. So like they're calling this person the Ghost of Yote because they're doing similar things.
That makes sense. It's like in the tradition of this.
Like, we had this guy called the Ghost of Tsushima who essentially betrayed all of the samurai code to overthrow the Mongol invasion. Oh, we have this person who's using very similar arsenal to overthrow this corrupted gang of people who wronged them. We'll call them the Ghost of... Where are we? Oh, yeah, Yote? Okay.
That makes sense.
Mind you, I'm pretty sure the ones you kill are called the Yote 6. So, yeah, if someone was hunting them down, I guess you would probably call them the Ghost of Yote. So, it's like the fucking Sinister Six. You know, Doc Ock in there.
And then they do the third game. It's the Ghost of Sparta.
Oh, and
it's just Kratos.
I'd take it.
It's another jump in time. It's the new God of War universe, and it's just Kratos, actual Kratos fighting real samurais. That's it.
Did you hear the leak about potentially God of War 3, so to speak?
No.
So apparently there's some leaks out there.
Like something with Egyptian
lore? Egyptian. I don't know how. I don't want that. I honestly don't. Like,
I don't know. I think it'd be interesting.
No, I think like conceptually that's cool, but I don't think it should be Kratos. Like, and it has to be. I know it has to be for IP reasons.
You can't not have Kratos.
But like, how? I understand.
How do you bring him back in though?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
because he seems like pretty dedicated to that area, trying to make that area
good again,
better.
Yeah. You know? Or not? Yeah, not even again, just good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. They're gonna do a Ubisoft first 10 minutes of the game. Asma, the Egyptian god, snaps Atreus' neck.
Atreus gets ripped in half.
And Kratos just goes, welp.
They're about to find out the god I once was.
Do you know that trend online where it'll be like a Minecraft village and like a villager pushes the guy's wolf off and it goes like
just hard cuts to like the whole village in flames. And there's lava and TNT and shit everywhere.
It's God of War. Atreus gets ripped in half and it just goes.
It just hard cuts to fucking God of War 3 era Kratos.
As much as his head is just on Kratos' lap. So, as always, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Red Hub, Spotify Podcast, and the RSS Feed link below. There's also Instagram, TikTok, and contact us there. YouTube, Spotify, the video platform where you can see us, and contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send your comments, questions, concerns, and death threats. Goodbye.